As far as introduction shots go, I think this is a pretty good way to start a video. In this bright red, this Alfa Romeo Tonale certainly looks the part. My name is Peter, this is an Audi Q4 video, and together we're going to explore this Italian beauty, see what's what. Of course, it is not only skin deep, this beauty, there is quite a lot of interesting tech underneath, because this is the plug-in hybrid powertrain. And we have to see if this car actually works in the real world as a normal family sort of crossover SUV. So let's find out together and start by having a look around. All right, a little walk around the car starts here at the front with a very, very intimidating face. I quite like how aggressive this looks, and at the same time it looks modern, fresh and sculpted, especially in this red color. A few things to note. First of all, the daytime running lights. I really like that. That looks really cool with the 3 lights on each side. The edges illuminated, really, really nice and really bright as well. It's a super bright sunny day, but you can still see it very well. The logo here in the front is completely grayed out, and I know that's the modern and stylish way, but I kind of prefer that Italian colored logo. That looks a bit cooler, I think. Speaking of cool, how do you guys feel about these holes here in the front? Not entirely sure how I feel about that. I do feel all kinds of things about this fake plastic grille situation. Not so nice. It is open here, by the way. That's for some kind of brake cooling, I think. But yeah, this doesn't look very good. Details though, because overall this is a very handsome car, and I think if you have this on your driveway, that you look out the window with a big smile on your face every day. Walking down the side of the car, you can see the profile. Obviously very recognizable Alfa shape, and also there's a lot of elements here that you can recognize, for example, from the Junior. It's in many ways like a grown-up Junior car. I think that's cool. The wheel design though is interesting. Do you guys like this or not? For me, I don't think so. It's not really my kind of style wheel, although I have to say it does suit the car really well. Now this is the plug-in hybrid version. That's the only one we get in the Netherlands, meaning that on the front we have a combustion engine powering the front wheels. In the middle we have a battery pack, and here on the rear we have an electric motor powering the rear wheels. That battery can be charged back here with a cable, so you can charge either at home or at a public charging point. But you never have to worry about range anxiety or anything, because you always have that petrol engine with you. So that is really the best of both worlds. You can drive electric, providing you have enough battery, for about 50 to 60 kilometers, depending a bit on the weather and how and where, and mostly how fast you drive. And if that is not working for you, or if you need more range, you have the petrol engine to give you that. So that's nice, and the fact that there's no link between both powertrains means you have fully independent four-wheel drive. So that also means you have traction when necessary. And of course, with the driving modes, you can switch between how you like to deploy it. Then we walk to the rear of the car, very nicely sculpted. I quite like that this mimics the headlights with these 3 light bars and then the whole strip across the entire width of the vehicle. I think that looks nice. I also really like that it has a normal wiper to keep your window free from debris, and that it is in sort of Alfa style, let's say, quite a nicely designed back. You can see the exhaust on either end, and those look really nice and chunky, but if we look inside, you can see that the real exhaust is actually there, because you know, the engine is not that big. But overall it is a nice rear, I think, especially again with this red. Opening up the boot, we have just under 400 liters of space, which is not the last word in practicality, but it's pretty okay. You can see here the charging cables in there for a bit of scale. If this is not enough, there is a hatch there for skis. There is also a 12-volt socket here on the left. So that's there, and there's a little hook for your shopping. And there is a bit of underfloor storage as well. Oddly, I don't think that these are LEDs. I'm not really sure why, but they look very yellow. So I'm not really sure if they missed that for some reason, or if it's really not LEDs. But you know, that's what it is. If we put the seats down, I think we go over 1400 liters of space, so you can really help somebody move, because it's still a very nice and square opening. And there is 0 load lip here, so that is even more excellent. So very practical and usable, I'd say. Now finishing up the tour around the car, here on the back right we have the fuel filler cap right there, so you can just fill up at any gas station with regular petrol. And again, this side profile I think highlights what a nice looking car it is. I think if you do go for an Alfa, and if you're sensitive for the Italian flair, then you know, things like this, the little Italian flag here, That really, I think those are the finishing touches for a car like this. And here on the wing we got the Sport Speciale, as this is the version that you will probably want, with of course a bit more goodies and everything else over the standard version. But more on versions later. I think this is a good looking vehicle, and I think if you own this, you're going to be very happy every day that you have this on your driveway. Obviously a lot less spectacular than the outside. I have to say that the inside of this Tonale is also quite a nice place to be. A few things to note from the get-go is, first of all, the amount of blackness in here. Apart from a strip on the dash and this bit in the seats, it is very black in here, everywhere. It's also several blends of black. And that makes it feel a bit smaller in here. And in general, it is small in here. There's not that much space. But thanks to the panoramic roof, there is enough light here not to feel claustrophobic. This is especially important because the windows are not that big, and that same goes for the rear windows. So for people in the back, this is crucial. All around though, it is actually pretty nicely done. You can see things like the stitching here on the dash is the same as the stitching on the seats. The logo, the seat in general, the design of everything with wings to the past like these, the housing of the driver's display. It's all very nicely done, so that is pretty good. What's really good is the fact that nothing in here is touchy swipey and everything is analog operation. So that's fantastic. That goes from the window operation and your mirror adjustments to the buttons on the steering wheel, to the real klima buttons, to the real interaction with your vents. It's so nice. Everything is manual and everything works well that way. It's just so much easier to do things manually than to have a voice command or start swiping in the screen. This is the way forward. Excellent, well done. What also makes me really happy is the fact that there is only a tiny slab of piano black around the gear selector and the park button, and that's it. Everything else is either matte black or something else, but no piano black anywhere that you're constantly touching. So that is fantastic. Well done. It is possible. After all those years of complaining about it, the whole car industry, every journalist hates it. Finally, they're coming back around and proving that they can build interiors without that horrible material. Great. We should have skipped that in the first place, but okay, here we are. There is an interesting blend of materials going on, sort of going from top to bottom. So this is pretty hard plastic, and it's the same as here on the top of the dash, but it gets a bit softer as you go down. So your elbow rest and the middle armrest and also this dash, then it gets nice and soft material. So that's interesting, sort of when you go down in the cabin, it becomes nicer to touch, which makes sense because your hands are mostly further down. Now I mentioned the window control, that's excellent. Normal door handle, speaker here, manual circular vents here on the left and straight vents here in the middle, also circular one on the passenger side. Circular is the steering wheel as well. Just a normal circle. Doesn't have to be a squircle or a triangle or a hexagon or something else. Just a circle with a slightly flat bottom. Very well done. Start stop button here and real matte buttons and two little wheels to scroll through. On your right for your media and your system control, and on your left for all your cruise control settings. So simple, so clean, so elegant, with the Alfa logo also in black and gray in the middle. Now behind the steering wheel, metal shifter paddles, huge paddles as well. They're like this big. It looks really cool and they feel really cool to the touch, literally, because of course the air conditioning is blowing on it, so then they feel really nice. And the fact that it's metal, it's nice. It's just really nice. But that's about it. The functionality escapes me a little bit because the auto box is fine, nothing to write home about, but it works. And I've never really had the urge this week to use manual shifting apart from trying out how it works. So cool that it's there. Visually it's nice and it feels good too, but functionally moi. They don't get in the way of your wipers on the right and your indicators on the left, so that's good. It's only indicators on the stalk here because the button itself for the light adjustment is a dial here on the left next to the steering wheel. Through the steering wheel I have my driver's display, which is in this sort of wink to the past housing, so that's nice. And the display is nice too. It's nice and bright. I got my speedo on the left, my ref counter on the right when the engine's running, and of course you can have your maps on there and your state of charge and so on. So it's pretty clear, good overview, good use of colors as well where necessary without it becoming a mess. So yeah, that's fine. I can very much live with that. And of course it works together with the screen in the middle. I have some thoughts about that. On the one hand, it is nicely integrated in the interior. It doesn't sort of, it's not an iMac stuck on the dashboard, but it is a bit small. No, not to say that it has to be this big, but when the screens get smaller, the icons get smaller, the text gets smaller, everything gets smaller. And there is quite a lot to do here. It's not the super simple Stellantis system. It's the more elaborate system with a lot of settings, navigation, and everything else in there. It does get a bit small at times. So just give it 2 or 3 inches extra and it's fine, I think. It's also not the fastest system in the world. If I tap on things, it takes a while to load. It's okay. It's workable, but yeah, if you're used to your smartphone, it is significantly slower than that. A fun fact is that the Alfa logo is actually colored in here, where you can change your avatar to a colored Alfa logo if you want. So, if you don't like this one, at least you have it over there. Then 2 manual vents, like I said, and a whole row of buttons for your Klima settings. So up and down for the temperature, faster for the airspeed, demisting, circulation, all those things are there. Just a tap away. So much easier. No voice controls, no commands, no discussion with your dashboard about the temperature. No funny jokes like, oh, hey car, I'm cold. None of that nonsense. Just a button to press. It's just so much nicer. It is great. Then we get to the center console, and there's a lot going on there too. First of all, we have this hole here in the front with a USB-C and a USB-A, interestingly. And this hole you can't close it off, so it's always there. So everything you put there is always exposed. And it has your wireless charging in there, but not room for anything else. So it's either you put your sunglasses like I have now, and then your phone is somewhere else, or you put your phone and then you can't really put anything else in there. Also, so this is a normal Pixel phone, nothing too crazy or big. It doesn't fit in like this. So you're gonna have to stick it in at an angle, okay? So forward, you can't do it because then the phone gets stuck. So you have to put it in like this. Then it gets there, and I have, well, about 1.5 millimeters on each side left on the charging pad, and that's it. So anything bigger will not fit because it does have raised edges that prevent it from moving around too much. So yeah, be aware if you have a big phone with a big case that it might not fit. Then we have a volume roller rather for the passenger and the parking brake, pretty standard stuff. And then a dial for your drive selector. Now the dial is a bit strange because I can turn it, obviously. If I press the brake pedal now, you can hear it turn. You can hear the mechanics underneath. Not really sure what that's for. But the dial is also infinite, so I'm now reversed, but I can keep turning it. So that's a bit strange. And the P button obviously speaks for itself. I'm not really sure why they went for this solution and not for the standard Stellantis little stick shift thingy. But okay. And it's especially strange that they used this dial here, because the dial up here for the driving mode selector, so we have the Alpha DNA for advanced efficiency, normal and dynamic. That is a dial with a spring in it that you can't overturn. So if I turn this one up, it goes to D and it sort of springs back into place. And yeah, that makes a bit more sense, and I would have made more sense for this dial as well. But okay, that is what it is. Underneath we have some buttons for your e-save, your parking and your parking sensors, and 2 cup holders that are not adjustable or anything but relatively deep. And the armrest that can open has a bit of storage, but not much, maybe 2 cans of cola, for example, and can also move forwards and backwards. So that's the cockpit. Nice place to sit and operate your vehicle. It's quite nice. A good view out, forward at least as well. Rearwards, the side mirrors aren't that big, but they're fine. Through the car, the rear window is not that big, and a lot of it is blocked by the headrests of the rear seats. Then the seats themselves, the seating position is okay, electric, adjustable, heated steering wheel as well, by the way. And I think kind of nice in this 2-tone color design with the stitching and everything. I think that's pretty well done. And the panoramic roof, like I mentioned before, for a bit of extra light. All around pretty okay. I said in the beginning that it doesn't feel very big. It isn't physically very big here. I'm 183 and 100 kilos, so I'm not a small human. But yeah, it doesn't feel very spacious here, especially because this middle tunnel takes up a lot of real estate, and yeah, there's not that much room for me to move around in here. Obviously in electric cars, in fully electric cars, you have a lot more room to move things around because you don't have to deal with the mechanics underneath. But still, it feels slightly cramped in here. And take cramped with a grain of salt, obviously. It's not a Kia Picanto in here, but you know, for a car that has some size and mass on the outside, yeah, it doesn't feel super roomy in here. You can see that, for example, also by the headroom. I mean, I have 3 fingers of headroom with my size and length, and the seat is relatively far down. So, you know, it is not the biggest vehicle here on the inside. Sitting here in the back with 1.83 meters and about 100 kilos, you can tell that I am already touching the roof. So anybody taller than me will not be able to fit back here. My boys are 12 and 9 and they still fit, although the 12-year-old is pushing 160 already. So not for long, but you know, for kids here it is generally fine. Also child seats, no issues here. Even though those things are so big and bulky these days, they do take up quite a lot of space. And it's, yeah, again, here in the back, it's also not as voluminous as you might expect on the outside. But it's fine, it's a okay place to be. There is enough light back here too. You can maybe see that the windows are not that big and they're also relatively high, just under my shoulder line. But there's enough light coming from the front and through the panoramic roof, even though the roof only goes till here and not all the way back. What also helps is the fact that the seats are not that massive and relatively low. There's a lot of space between the seat and the roof, and also between the headrest and the roof. So there is enough information and light coming from the front not to feel claustrophobic back here. Material wise, it's all the same as in the front, so that's good. Same patterns on the seat and everything. All is well. The seats are also soft on the back, which is excellent. Even if you have to touch the seat with your knees, that doesn't get uncomfortable. I have about, let's say, 3 fingers of space left until I touch the seat in my driving position. But it's nice. I can see past the seat, over the seat, in between the front seats. That is going well. Also, I have a lot of space for my feet, so that really adds to the comfort too. And you know, the bench is relatively well angled, so I also have enough under thigh support here to be comfortable for a reasonable drive. Basic functionality, window switches, seat pocket here in the back, excellent. Some air adjustment here and a USB-C and A once more. Transmission tunnel here in the middle prevents you from making this a real full seat despite the headrest, but it is okay. And armrest wise, we have a ski hatch, so that's interesting because the boot is not that big, but you can have pass-through, and some cup holders here without any adjustments, but relatively wide armrest, so you should be okay here even with 2 people. So yeah, that's the back. All well, nothing too special or crazy, but all the basics are covered. And things do get slightly more scratchy here on the top, but all around the materials are okay too. Obviously a little bit of driving in this Alfa Tonale as well. Currently on the highway doing 113 kilometers an hour. We are actually out of electric battery power, so we're doing it on the combustion engine alone. And that's a good place to start. Obviously the powertrain is unique, not to this car, but this is the only powertrain we get in the Netherlands in this Tonale, which still promises to offer the best of both worlds, 50-60 kilometers of electric range, and if that is not enough for you, you have the combustion engine to get you where you need to be. Super handy for people that either don't want or are unable to buy a full EV, still want to get the tax benefits here in the Netherlands of driving at least partially electric, and maybe can charge only at work or occasionally somewhere, so they can't rely on pure EV alone. For those people, I think it's still a valid option, even though these days we're seeing a lot of manufacturers move towards a motor generator kind of setup where the combustion engine only serves to charge a smaller battery. But then you still get the best of both worlds as well, that you can always drive electric but have the range, sort of a range extender setup. This one still has a plug though, so you're gonna have to plug it in every once in a while to get the most fuel economy out of this car. And it is very nice to be able to drive that 50-60 kilometers on pure EV alone, because that's your commute to work, that's your drive to swimming class, that's your go around town and do a few things and run some errands during the day kind of range. So that is perfect for most people. And in all honesty, I think if you are realistic about what you actually drive on a daily basis, this is probably all the EV range you will ever need. If you then, like today, have to drive a bit further, there's the combustion engine to help you out. We have a total system output of 270 horsepower, which is fine. And we're doing 160 now. If I floor it, 20, 30, 40... It's not super fast, I have to say. It's not a race car by any stretch of the imagination. It's certainly not a slow vehicle, because, you know, in the end we have 270 horsepower and 4-wheel drive. So, you know, in In some sprints it's doing okay. But yeah, in general it's not the fastest car in the world, even though it will never make you feel slow either. So overtaking, merging, moving positions on the highway, it's all fine. It can do that really well. And when you're driving on pure EV mode in and around town, it's zippy enough. Nothing like a pure EV will pull you at the traffic light for sure, but it's fine. It's very, very drivable. What also stands out is the fact that the steering is very light in general. When I first got into this car, I expected it to be heavier. I don't know why, maybe because, you know, Alfa has a bit of a driver's car feel around its name. And yeah, generally you associate that with a slightly heavier steering. This is quite light, which is okay, because obviously when you're driving in and around town, parking, tight situations, it's very nice to have that easy way of turning the steering wheel and maneuvering the car. So as far as that goes, it's not a problem. But yeah, I expected it to be a bit heavier. And that's in general maybe a bit of a problem for Alfas, is that people expect it to be driver's cars. But yeah, as soon as you put a size vehicle like this together with an Alfa badge on it, I don't consider this a driver's car per se. I'm sure you can, you know, out-engineer weight and power and everything. But when I think driver's car, I think Mazda MX-5, BMW Z4, those kind of cars. Maybe like a hot hatchback, like a Golf R, but not this size car. Which brings me to the DNA dial here for the advanced efficiency, normal and dynamic settings. Yes, it does change the car's characteristics a little bit, especially with the damping. It becomes a bit more firm. But I don't really see many situations where you would be like, I'm going to put it in the firm setting now and hurl this car down the road. Maybe that once a year that you drive to Switzerland and have a few hairpins to go, or when you go on holiday in Germany and have some of the, you know, curvy side roads to drive, yeah, maybe. But the rest of the time, not really. Just keep it in normal and everybody is happy. Obviously, you guys want to know how much all this Italian flair is going to cost you. I'll leave it up to you how you're going to explain that at home though. The Alfa Romeo Tonale Hybrid Plug-in, as it's called, has the same powertrain across the board. So that's the 1.3 plug-in hybrid Q4 with the petrol engine powering the front, electric motor powering the rear, total system output 270 horsepower. That's the same for all trim levels. We're just looking at trim. We start with the regular Tonale, which costs you 46,700 euro here in the Netherlands. One level up is the T, that will cost you 49,900. This one is the Sport Speciale for 51,900. And above this one is the Veloci for 52,650 euro. So those are your options. Then you can pick from a bunch of colors. You can have your brake calipers painted, but there's two packs that you might consider. The Tech Pack for 2,195 euro will give you things like a dimming inner mirror, 360 camera, wireless phone charging, electric tailgate, semi-autonomous parking, and a few other things. And then there's the Winter Pack that gives you things like a heated steering wheel and warmed windscreen wipers. So those are the basic things you can pick from, but again, all across the board they are the same powertrain. It's just the trim level that varies. Happy in general here on the highway too. It's not the quietest car in the world. There's quite a bit of wind noise, but it's an okay cruiser. Seats are comfortable enough, even though if you, I think, drive longer than 2 hours, which I haven't done, they probably feel a bit firm. All around, I think it's a nice vehicle if you're a little bit sensitive for that Alfa flair. That Italian styling, that beautiful red color on the outside, and then things like that Alcantara here on the dash. The big shifter pedals that are completely redundant if you ask me, but okay. I think if you like those things, then this is certainly a car that you can pick. I think there's a lot of competition in this space for, let's say, around 50,000 euro. And almost so much competition that there is no more competition, because there's so much to choose from. Brand, nation, EV, powertrain, infotainment, software systems and everything, that, you know, there's so much choice that there's something there for everybody. But I think if you do like that Alfa flair, then this is a great choice. You're going to be happy with a car that looks cool on the outside, feels cool on the inside, has good features in terms of the buttons and the tech in general. It's all okay. Nothing that will blow you away, but it's, you know, it's all fine. Even the small infotainment system that should have been a bit bigger. So if you're an Alfa lover, then, you know, it's not a purebred or anything, you know, because underneath it's still a big Stellantis product. But on the other hand, if you like the style and you like the feeling with Alfa, and you have some of that passion somewhere, why not? It's a good size vehicle for you and your family. It's a car that's still easy to maneuver around town. Can give you good fuel economy if you play the powertrain well. So yeah, it does a lot of things well in a nice package. So that's all I got for you in this video. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about Alfa in general, and if you would pick a car like this over something Chinese EV, something Korean, or anything else. And if you think that this kind of vehicle still has a place in today's marketplace. Let me know. I like to read those kind of comments and sort of thoughts that you guys might have. For now, thank you very much for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers!